Hey y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to Bloomin' Jasmine. So whew, I have been a little MIA for the last couple of weeks. A lot has been going on. It's been a little crazy, but I don't got through it. It's been a lot. So it's not gonna be a long video today, y'all. It's just gonna be, giving my little testimony and just how good God has been, and just how good Jesus has been, and just like my little, me just learning more about Him. So I'm gonna take a quick little, maybe a quick 15 minutes and just talk to y'all for a minute. So last time, last time, y'all heard from me. I was kind of going through a lot because, what was it? I think it was like a few friends, that I kind of stopped being friends with, that I had been friends with for years and years. And it's nothing kind of like, not like a huge blowout, that happened. But it's just like, when you get to a certain point and when you like a certain type of person, sometimes you kind of have to create boundaries as to kind of protect yourself. Because like me, I'm a little softy. So sometimes, things will hurt my feelings, or, I may, address things to certain people and they don't apologize. And it's kind of like with any relationship you have, whether it's a friendship or a relationship where, y'all just getting to know each other, there needs to be like some type of accountability, because it's like if there's no accountability and if, the other person doesn't feel like they're wrong, or, they're not willing to kind of like apologize for certain things, you can't really grow from that. And especially like if you're a softie like me, that's not really good for like the internal you. So yeah, I just been kind of, just going through these last couple of weeks, just kind of just like me and God, me and Jesus, and we just been kind of just getting through some things. It's been a little tough, but we don't got through them. My block list is like on fleek right now, because it's just like, it just comes a certain time in your life where you just kind of have to cut off, communication with certain people. It may not be like a lifetime, but it'll be, God says it's a time to embrace and it's a time to refrain from embracing, So sometimes you kind of just have to give yourself a little breather, even from people. Hold on, y'all. Oh my goodness. That's so weird. It just happened out of nowhere. I guess that means this video finna be fire. But yeah, so that kind of happened, and just of course, like me, not talking to my A1 day ones all the time. Look at my calendar, y'all. It's a little empty. I gotta fill it in. But me not kind of talking to just like certain individuals. Of course, it just make me feel away, make me a little sad. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So that's that. What else? And so what I have really been learning, y'all, is how Jesus says, like in Peter 1 and First Peter verse 5 through 7, it says, cast your cares on the Lord, because He cares about you. Depending on the version that you read, it says like something like that. But when I used to hear that, cast your cares on the Lord, that's like, this is a time where I'm like, God, what does that even mean? Like, how do I even do that, Jesus? Because it's just like, I was thinking like, well, how do you do that? Like, do I just throw it on you? Do I just like ball them up and then just toss them across the field? When they say cast your cares on me. But Jesus had to really teach me what that mean and how to do it too, because I was going through like a really, really tough time. Just because, it's certain things that I would like to have, and I would like to be in a certain space, with certain people, being, just hanging out with certain people and just getting to know, a certain individual more. And it's just like with Jesus, He's just like saying that it's not to say that it's never going to happen. It's just not time for those things to happen. And it's like, even if, they never happen for you, I'm definitely going to have something better. Like, I'm going to hook it up for you. So, just being in that waiting period and just like really trusting them in spite of, what we may want, just depending on Him. He says, cast your cares on the Lord. And so at first I didn't know what that meant, but they brought to my remembrance of how I interact with this certain individual. So there's an individual, and I really care about this person, and I just choose sometimes to not tell this individual a lot of the things that's going on with me, because I don't want to put that burden on them, because they have like their own stuff going on. So I don't want to like put more on them, you know? And so Jesus, he brought that to my remembrance, like, okay, you know how you don't want to put your stuff on this person because you feel like you don't want to add to what they have going on? Well, that's what that means. Cast your cares, on the Lord, because, I care for you. Like, Jesus and God, they and the Holy Spirit, like, they care about all the stuff that we care about. They care about, they love us. So they like, you know, a lot of times when we go through stuff, we talk to our friends about it, we talk to our family about it first, but we don't talk to Jesus about it, and Jesus is like the reason that we can even talk to God, and you guys can like learn about that, and like the whole, when he died on the cross and stuff like that. But it's like when you really are like going through stuff, like, yeah, vent and talk to whomever, a therapist, whomever, but you really should be talking to God and Jesus about that first. Because it's like, that's not cool for them to get like secondhand information. Yes, they in it with you and they know everything that's going on, but sometimes they just want you to tell them, and just talk to them about it. So, how I kind of learned how to do that, like cast my cares on him, because I remember I was driving and, I was thinking about a certain situation. I was saying to myself, God, this is not fair. This is not, because like, I don't ever want to come across as ungrateful to God or to Jesus, or to feel like I'm complaining or unappreciative. But it's like in my spirit, I just felt like about a certain situation, like, this is not fair that I have to endure this pain and hardship, and this person on the other end is just like chilling, And so, I was like, as soon as I said to myself, like, this isn't fair, it's like I immediately start crying. And I was crying, and like I was praising, and I had my worship on because I was in the car driving on my way to somewhere. So I was crying so much, I ended up having to pull over because I'm like, okay, I can't drive like this. So I pulled over, and when I pulled over, you know how like this, of course I was driving, so the steering wheel was there, and so I kind of was thinking in my head, I was like really crying and really talking to them, and as I was talking, I was like leaning my head like on the steering wheel, and after I had finished like praying and stuff, it's like I kind of feel like I was like laying on their chest a little bit, just like laying on their chest or their shoulder, just crying. But I was really just venting to them about everything that I was experiencing, and I was praying, that even if it doesn't turn out my way, just let it be favorable for everybody else, just really like putting my burdens on them. And it's like that's what he and they, want us to do, like with any situation that we may have. Like, yes, talk to your friend, talk to your mom, your dad, whomever, but come to them first with that information, because they say cast your cares, on me, because like his burden is light. The stuff that he wants us to do, it's like it's nothing compared to the stuff that we actually worry about. So, I say that because as soon as I did that, and I was talking to them for like a good hour, and when I did that, like even though I was crying and I was good, like after that, I felt so light. Like I felt like a weight had been lifted off of me, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it kind of caught me by surprise, because all I was doing was venting. But what I was actually doing is giving them my worries, giving them my burdens, like me not holding on to it, and just like I didn't want to put that on my friend, they're like, okay, yes, don't put it on your friend necessarily, put it on me, because I can handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good over here. So I just thought that was so great. So I would encourage you guys, this week and then going forward, like, if y'all going through it, or y'all going through something that's tough, and you just feeling like, you just feeling away, don't run to your friends and your family first. Go to Jesus first and talk to him about it, and just be real, and cry if you gotta cry. Ain't nothing wrong with crying. I tell anybody, I out cry you any day, because I feel like it's just so therapeutic, because it's like when you cry, you really get to the bottom of how you're feeling. So it's not for everybody, but I feel like you kind of have to keep it real with them a little bit. But yeah, just like this week and going forward, just like if it's anything that's bothering y'all, and it's like just like really cast your cares upon him. Just how y'all put your cares upon your family members, just put it on them, and like what I'm saying, and like trust and believe that regardless of whatever, like you're making them aware of things that's upsetting you. Like he said, you have not because you ask not. So if you're not asking him for help, if you're not asking them for like a solution, regardless of what you think the solution may be, then you're not giving them a lot of room to work with, because they're not gonna, Jesus is not gonna put himself, he's not gonna force himself on anybody. So you gotta like invite him into certain situations so he can like help you through it. So I kind of learned that, and I've been using that a couple times. I use it today. Y'all can probably see my eyes a little swollen, but I just be having real moments because I be going through stuff, and it's like a lot of the stuff be like emotional because he's kind of like undoing a lot of things in my life, as far as like relationships that I've had in my life. As far as just different habits that I have kind of gotten over the years that I thought was cool. Like he's really just like cleaning out my life. So, I'm going through like a purging period, almost like how gold is refined. That's kind of like what he's doing to me. He's refining me, and like he said in his word, he's the author and perfecter of our faith. So he's like perfecting my faith. So it's like in that perfection, it feels like hardship, but it's not. It's really just, him doing that. I'm growing spiritually, producing fruit, and then also too, what's the word? Um, I think it's Hebrews. I think it's like Hebrews, and it's one of the verses that says like, God disciplines who He loves. He chastens who He loves. So it's like, look at hardship as discipline. A lot of people may feel like discipline. They may feel like the stuff that they're going through is just like, God like picking on them, but it's just not that. He's just really trying to grow you spiritually. So that way, you can have a better relationship with him, and that way you can be able to really receive what he has for you. Because, a lot of the stuff that he has for us is not even heard of. Nobody has kind of like, reached certain milestones in him. So he's really just trying to prosper us so that way we can be in a position to receive what he has for us and be able to receive better and be good stewards of the better he's given us. So that's that. One thing I did learn too, I don't know if y'all have this problem, but I kind of had the realization that, sometimes I am too nice. And sometimes I'm too giving. And it's like sometimes you can be good and giving and nice, but sometimes you can be like overextending yourself. And it's like, yes, he's saying, yeah, God and Jesus, they want us to be kind and holy and, all this good stuff. But it's like if you're doing it to a certain extent to kind of like appease somebody else, or to like make somebody else situation better, and it's like that's not what God calls you to do, then it's like you're really overextending yourself. And that's kind of what I had to like learn, is that even though yes, I'm nice, I'm sweet, I'm this, I'm that, I would sometimes overextend myself and just give, and not really have what I needed, in certain times. Or it's like when I do need certain things, who the people that I'm giving to, they just can't give that back to me in the way that I need it emotionally, So it's like they're really teaching me that it's like, okay, yes, be nice, be kind, but let me direct that. Because if you're not careful, you can be giving this energy to somebody who's not, they don't really know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's no fault to them, because you can't make a person grow, but it's just sometimes you can be overextending yourself, overextending, like kind of what God is doing in you. And not to say you're being taken advantage of, because some people, they truly are being taken advantage of, but maybe you have a friendship or a relationship where that person just really does not know how to love you the way you love them. And it's like, it's not okay. Well, I was going to say it's okay, but it's not okay. But you just kind of have to know your worth and know what you're willing to accept and to not accept. Because if God is trying to build you up over here, but then you got somebody who over here that's kind of like low key tearing you down, it's like, God is like, hey, you need to drop that baggage, because we going up. It's up and it's stuck. So, I would say, just kind of gauge that, so that way you're not being like taken advantage of, because there is a such thing as being too nice. And especially if it's not being used in God's way. Like if you're just being nice to everybody, and what I'm saying, you can be borderline walked on if you ain't a little spicy, so you got to kind of like watch that and just let them direct the niceness. And I seen proof of that, y'all, this week, because situation happened. Like I really try to keep my stuff, secret. Like whenever, I'm in a situation to be a blessing to somebody, and I keep that stuff secret because it's nobody's business but me and God's. But he really put me in a position where it's like my kindness and just the things that he's put into me, it was able to be exemplar, like being given to somebody who really appreciates it and who really needs it. And it's like, that's like, thank you, God, because sometimes I kind of act a certain way towards a person and they're not, like I said, they're not receptive of it. They can't even, they're like low key unappreciative of it, or they take it lightly. And I was, had an opportunity to kind of like, like have God to use me, but it was like in those right lanes. You get what I'm trying to say? So just kind of let him steer, like the good parts that's in you, let him steer it. Don't feel like, you are this nice person, you're like a humanitarian, you love people, and you feel like people just walking all over you. Don't let nobody walk all over you, but like look to him, look to the hills from which come up your help. Like look to him and just be like, hey, because I told him, like, I told Jesus, like, well, not told, but I asked. I'm like, I don't want for my heart to be so hard that I, shut off the people who actually need it. I just want to be, if you can just help me to gauge that, that'd be great. And, they really helped me to do that. So I just encourage y'all to do that too. Holler at them and they'll help you out. What else? And one thing I do want to just tell y'all about real quick is about being a doer of the word. Because it's like all the stuff that I'm talking about is being a doer of the word. I believe it's James chapter 1, verse 22. And it talks about being a doer of the word. It says, don't merely be a hearer, but be a doer of the word. And that's meaning like, whatever you're reading, all the stuff that Jesus said, or, just like that whole thing, like put it into practice, like do it. Don't just be going to church, just listening to it. Don't just be looking at stuff on YouTube and scriptures and this and that, just listen to it. Like actually put these things into practice. And you really need Jesus to put them into practice because like for us, it's so hard for us to do it without Jesus. Jesus did it, and it was like, they say he was, it says in his word, he was tempted at all points. Jesus, they tried Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like people got on his nerves and he still kept his composure. So he knows how to conquer this flesh. Sin is not even an issue because he died for all our sins, past, present, and future. It's the flesh and the ways of the flesh. Our wants, our this, our that. That's what, what I'm saying? That's what we got to live with and kind of get through this life with, because the desires of the flesh is what even causes us to sin. So it's like he really wants to get to the root of the problem and uproot it so he can, like, you can live better. And so that's why I would encourage you guys to do, like, whenever you read a scripture, whenever you go to church, like, leave and try to implement that in your actual life. Don't just be like listening to it. Don't just be just reading it just to read it. Like, actually put it in action, because that's what's going to get you closer to him. And then that's how you're going to learn, by being a doer of the word. And you might feel like you don't want to be a doer of the word. You might feel like you just want to complain. And it's like, if you do you, boo. You want that quality of life you got, go ahead. You ain't got to be a doer. You do you. Because one thing they not going to do is make you do nothing. If that makes sense, But I would highly encourage you guys, you got to just start somewhere. Start with, something easy, love your neighbor as thyself. You know how you love you. Start putting it into practice, loving other people. Being kind. You gotta get in your words so you can kind of know what to say, and just try, like one thing at a time, and then like really talk to him. And like when you trying it, and if somebody like trying you, talk to him. Jesus, get your mans, get your boy. Jesus, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. Like really have a real deal conversation with them. Talk to them as if you would talk to one of your friends, like with respect, of course, but just be that transparent with them. Even in those moments, don't wait until you're like at home and at nighttime be like, Jesus, I had a really tough time dealing with this and this and that. No, like when you in that moment, holler at them right then and there. Don't wait till you get home, because he's gonna help you work through it. He's gonna like give you counsel, and a part of that, you gotta like kind of like learn how Jesus even communicate, because a lot of the times Jesus and the Holy Spirit, they're going to communicate by way of the word. And it's like, if you don't know the word, then there's nothing for them to bring back to your memory. Kind of like if you are, just pretend like you're a doctor. if you're a doctor and you don't study all these years, and when you finally get in the hospital, when a certain case come up, you're gonna realize, oh, I remember I learned this in school. This is how you do this is how you do that. Same thing with serving God. If you ain't been studying nothing, if you ain't been learning nothing, when you get to a certain situation, there's nothing for them to bring back to your remembrance because you don't know it. So I would just encourage you guys, just get in your word a little bit by little bit, chapter by chapter, and then they're gonna up you spiritually, and they're gonna prosper you spiritually, because he's gonna really show you how to live this life. It's just like it's a daily walk. It's a daily walk, y'all. And one thing too I do want to touch on before I let you go is like the crucifixion of Jesus, because it's like one of the things that really got me when I was saved was just I think it was it had to be like a first Sunday or a resurrection Sunday, to where they was talking about Jesus and how he died, and I just had so much compassion. Like, it really made me sad when they was explaining like all the stuff he went through. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I couldn't continue to live the way I was living, knowing that they did all of this. And that was like day one of my salvation. So that's what got me into it in the first place. But as of recently, like I was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I was looking up, because I was listening to Pastor Todd Tribbett. That's my pastor here in Orlando, Florida, and Pastor Tay. And I was listening to one of his previous words, and he was talking about just how gruesome the death of Jesus was. Like, his ribs were showing, like his skin, like the thing that they had whipped him with. Like, they was whipping him all night, but the whip had like stuff in it that, like, when you hit them and when you pull it back, it like pulls your skin off. Like, it was like, if y'all look it up, it was gruesome. Like, he had to carry that big old cross thing, and it was like straight up like splinters. He had splinters. He was so weak. Like, they had to beat him for hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so much. And it's like, even just thinking about how much he went through, it's like a lot of people leave it to just, oh, he saved me. But it's like, that's not it. He went through all of that to like really give us a leg up, and so we can be good. He sweated in the Garden of Gethsemane, so we ain't got to sweat. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, just me really getting into that, and me really learning about the real details, what happened to him and just how much he suffered. Like, even when he was on the cross, like, they were saying like he was barely able to breathe because of his injuries. Like, if you look it up, it'll explain it. There's this guy, it's like a actual doctor, and they found like the shroud of Jesus, like what he was wrapped in, and like it's real historical, like it's real facts. And they tell you based off of because it has like the print, of Jesus, and they tell you based off of that, like they can tell you all his injuries, all this, all that, and then they combine that with how the Romans used to kill people back in the day. Like, they was, what I'm saying, like they was ruthless. And they killed Jesus for nothing. He was so innocent, but he really endured that for us. And, just thinking about that, it just made me feel like I have to do my best. I have to really try. I have to like set aside my little petty stuff for him. And it's like, it's not petty to them, but it's like in comparison to what they went through. No, in comparison to what Jesus went through, for us, so we can even have a relationship with God, so we can even have a better quality of life, so we can be with them and all of us not go to hell. Like, for him to really do that, it speaks so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like true love. And it's just like, I just feel like I don't care what happened to me. Like, I'm putting you first regardless, because you ain't have to do that. And you did that for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And we were still in our sin. Nobody was saved. Nobody was good. And you did that while we were still sinning. So it's like, how much more you love us when we're going to do right. So I don't know, y'all. That just really set a fire in me. Just like, all right, Jesus, it's me and you. Like it was me and you before, but it's like, it's really me and you. Like, what, what I'm saying? Like, help me help you. What can I do to make you happy? What can I do to make, our relationship just like lit? Like, I want our relationship to be what you died for it to be. And that's just how I feel, and it's just like, yeah, you blessed me with beauty and, all of these things, but it's like, that's nothing in comparison to like what you gave up. Like, he was real dear rich in heaven, like him and God. God is wealthy. God is the owner of everything. And, Jesus, he was rich and he became poor for us, and not even became poor, came down here with people complaining and this and that. And I know Jesus probably wanted to slap somebody every now and again, but he just so good he didn't. You know what I'm saying? And it's like he really walked in the flesh and then overcame it. And he's showing us like, bro, I did it. I can show you how to do it. Just walk with me. Talk to me. And a lot of people, they hold God and Jesus on such like a high pedestal. They feel like they can't even like be real and talk to them. Like, it's like, yes, they're amazing. Yes, they're great. Yes, they're all of these things and more, but they're not unreachable either. Like they're like close to you to the point where they want you to talk to them. They want that relationship. Like God said, I'm a jealous God. So it's like he don't want you to be BFFs with somebody, or like you hard down in love with somebody and you ain't even hard down in love with him. Like, you got to think about their feelings. You got to think about what they think about certain situations. And it's like with me, that's why I'm kind of glad that kind of like starting from the bottom over here. Because it's like now I'm able to put myself in a position to where it's like, okay, I've literally given up all of the things that I thought I needed for you, and I'm just allowing him to fill those spaces. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys with, just with all of the stuff I was saying. But just like, even if you are in a space and you feel like you kind of don't have a lot of what you are used to having, just know he can do exceedingly abundantly more than we can ever ask or think. So just like allow him, to provide those needs for us. Like if you want comfort, just tell them like, you know what, God, I'm feeling a little lonely. Feeling a little lonely, Jesus, and then he gonna provide your need and send you somebody or send you a friend that's gonna be a true friend. Or if you feeling like, you wanna date somebody, they'll send you, you walk with them and you get your relationship right with them first, and then they're gonna send you the person that you actually need, opposed to you just going out looking for it. Same thing with a job, same thing with a business, whatever it is that you're seeking out for. Seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest shall be given unto you. And that's too, like, that's so true, because y'all, I tell you no lie, there is things in business that I dreamt of having, and they were literally given to me this week. I mean, like, given. Like, I'm talking about like an actual course that I wanted to make, and someone gave me an actual course. Like it was already made, it was already pink, already cute, already filled in. And it's like God is just like, you know what, I got you, boo. And he just, what I'm saying. And so God is just so good. Jesus is so good, and they so good. And it don't even like matter about, like their goodness is not contingent on our behavior. Because, even while we were still sinning, they decided to die for us, so it's not like anything that we do is going to move their hand, like, yeah, we're going to have favor, of course, if we end up winning, but, like their goodness is not contingent upon like, what we do or what we don't do, but if you have longevity and just keep doing, or you're going to reap a harvest, what I'm saying? If you're sowing good, they're going to hook it up for you. So that's all I got for y'all. It's just like, when I say Jesus is the reason for the season, like Jesus is like, like I'm even learning to get more close to him, and then also just like putting, just like letting them deal with everything, because like I may not have everything I want, but I most definitely got everything I need, and I have everything I need in abundance. That's what I've learned too. The stuff that you need, like just think like if you've been rocking with God, look at the stuff that you need and the stuff that you have, and you're gonna, I bet you find that the things that you need, that he has blessed you with, is more than you actually need. Like perfect example, my house. I only needed a two bedroom, two bath, and it's a it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath and a half, and it has a garage, and it has a patio. It's like way more space than I need. So that's just an example, and it's like a really, really good price, and it's just like great. And it's in a community where they do corporate leasings. So, like he gives you what you need in abundance, like he got you, but like don't grow weary in doing good. Just keep walking just keep walking the walk, and just keep fighting the fight, and just keep learning about them, get in your word, and just draw closer to them, because as you draw closer to them, as you seek them, everything that you want, what I'm saying, like he's gonna just give that stuff to you in his own perfect timing. And it might be a little bit hard to trust, like, okay, well, even if they do bring something to your way, and you're like, well, God, is this really for me? Like, this is too good to be true. And he's like, no, nothing is too good for you. Like, yes, you might have something good, but I want you to have better at the end of the day. You know, God is a God of like spectacular stuff. Like all his stuff is guap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for us to be kids of God, he wants us to have the best of everything. He don't want us just to have good or better. He wants us to have the best, absolute best of everything. And to have it and to be able to enjoy it, you know, so that way it can all glorify him. So I just want to come on there and say that, and um, because like they really do love us and they really do care about the stuff that we care about. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they be helping us, because like they don't want us to be in like messed up situations, or they don't want us to ever feel unloved. They want us to experience like that real, true agape love that, you know, they provide, that unconditional love, that sacrificial love, you know, that only they could give. So I just want to encourage you guys with that. And I'll just say, get in your word. You know, look up those verses I was telling you, and you know, just draw closer to them. And don't worry about who leaving you. Don't worry about who left you. Don't worry about the relationship you thought you had, because God, you know, knows what they think, even if they don't say it to you. You know, He knows everybody, regardless of, even if these people don't even want to admit certain things to themselves about how they feel about you. He knows everything. So don't be surprised. You know, I was gonna say, don't be surprised if they ask for the cash at, but don't be surprised if, you know, he start removing people left and right. Just know that that's just his way of protecting you, and you might not see it, you might not understand it, but trust him. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will. So that's all I got for y'all. If you want to stay connected, you can follow me on Yas on Instagram, Yasmin Halal 03. And I think that's underscore. I'm not too sure. I gotta look at the link in my bio. I'll put it in there. If y'all have any questions, you can hit me up at notmywillguide@yahoo.com. And then if y'all want to keep the party going, you know what I'm saying, if y'all feel like this content is helpful for y'all, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to these videos, and also put the notification bell for whenever I post another one. And I'll talk to y'all later, and have a good week. And don't let nobody steal your joy. Don't let nobody, you know what I'm saying, like whatever God's putting in you, protect that at all costs, because it's you and him against the world, literally, and they're gonna make sure you got everything you want. So I'll talk to y'all later, and hold it down. Okay, bye.